135 Millennium 31. Notes for the compiled histories of the Herosian Wars of the early 31st millennium by Admonis Chaft. The war started in secrecy in 005 Millennium 31, when Warmaster Horus stated that the planet of Istvan III was in open rebellion, and that to secure his authority, he wanted delegations from each Legion Astartes to be present. Some cried off, but most of the legions came, with delegations from the Sons of Horus, Thousand Sons, World Eaters, Iron Warriors, Space Wolves, Death Guard, Raven Guard, Ultramarines, Salamanders, and Imperial Fists, as well as delegations from the Mechanicum. At first, the attacks on the Choral City went unhindered. Then in the fighting, the Palace of Varda's Prowl detonated in a cacophony of sound and light. This detonation caused all communication to break down and stopped all ground-to-surface coordination. Some of the traitor forces thought this was the sign to implement the plan, and taking aim at their fellows started cutting a swathe through their perceived Loyalist enemies. In the confusion, however, Loyalist fired on Loyalist and traitor fought traitor. After hours of fighting and a lack of communication, Mortarion of the Death Guard released the Life Eater virus on the planet. Many of the warriors fighting suffered hideously from the effects, with only those fighting in catacombs and bunker complexes weathering the storm. Guilliman of the Ultramarines, disgusted with the clear betrayal of his forces and the Emperor, landed on the planet. A cordon had been set up by a combination of loyal Imperial Fist, Salamanders and Ultramarines, which he landed in. From there he rallied forces loyal to the Emperor, including loyal Sons of Horus and Iron Warriors. These troops escaped off-planet, taking the warning of the betrayal of Istvan to the Imperium. As 006 M31 started, forces loyal to the Imperium started shoring up their defences. The most direct routes towards Terra from the planet of Istvan led through the strategic system of Avalon. Here, Guilliman planned for Dawn and Magnus, two of his loyal brothers, to hold the incoming traitors for as long as possible. The defense of Avalon would hopefully give Guilliman enough time to form a retribution fleet in the system of Paramar to strike via Lucius into the traitors' flanks. The attack on Avalon was brutal, with the forces of the World Eaters under Angron smashing into the defences. Quickly overwhelming the fleets in orbit, the traitors attacked the orbital defences. These held just, but with their crews almost overwhelmed, the attackers made planetfall. Along with the traitor legionaries, the Dark Mechanicum made planetfall, with twisted knights and magos twisted into the forms of demons. These warriors attacked the planet's major defences, with the cities of Halva and Laios under heavy attack. The siege lasted 6 months, with many brave warriors losing their lives. Angron's herald, Khan, was struck down twice, but even with his body broken and spent, he was able to continue fighting. Chapter Master Coriolanus of the Imperial Fist's 3rd chapter fought Angron on the warship Endurance, causing injuries on the Red Angel before his force was overrun. On the planet, the Imperial Army Auxiliar of the 9th chapter of the Space Wolves made a charge into the forces of the World Eaters, forcing them from the battlefield with the loss of the majority of the Auxiliar forces. After the heavy fighting, the planet fell, the Imperial forces having to leave the shattered world behind. But in the meantime, Guilliman had managed to form his retribution fleet. The vanguard of the fleet, commanded by Magnus, entered the Lucius system to find the planet in a state of civil war. The Mechanicus forces engaging each other deep within the Dyson sphere of the planet. They also detected the translation of forces arriving from the Abyss system that could only be traitors. Excerpt of The True Histories of the Imperial Civil Wars by Admonis Chaft. Notes from Inquisitors Lucius Vex. This true history of the Civil War keeps turning up, no matter how we sanitize it. This pernicious false history needs to be quashed. 853 Millennium 36.